We're recording, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to the channel. By the way, of course, you hit record. No nets, no cuts, unedited. We are just here. It's as live can get. So one thing I do want to say real quick. Yesterday I didn't post a video. I got home and there was severe weather rolling in. I kind of thought, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. And this side of the metro, totally fine. Just a lot of rain, a lot of thunder and lightning, and nothing crazy. But it really did pop off in a big way on the south side of the metro. So I was, for till 1 or 2 in the morning, I was just watching the weather because it was very unsettled. So sorry about not getting a video up, but today I wanted to talk about the 2007, 2008 TMNT movie. I think it was the first computer generated foray for the Ninja Turtles. I went to a midnight screening when it came out because it was at a time when all of a sudden the movie theaters just said, oh, let's just do midnight screenings for everything. Why not? And it was a lot of fun. I went with a few friends, and it was a packed house. People were wearing Ninja Turtle, homemade Ninja Turtle masks and stuff. People really kind of made it a thing. It was a lot of fun. I think that gave this movie a little more grace in my mind over the years because I had such a fun time at that premiere. I think the truth now on re-examining is it misses a lot of the marks that it's shooting for. By the way, I should say show and tell. My wife and I collect Splinter action figures, Master Splinter. And I was going to bring a few of those down, including the action figure from this movie, which I will say, spoiler alert, this version of Splinter, both in voice performance and in character design, I think is the perfect. I think it's the best version of Splinter. Overall, there have been lots of good ones, but I just think this one really hits the mark. But instead of grabbing some of those toys, I thought, why not bring our real life Splinter, our little baby boy Bort. I don't think it's gonna autofocus on him super well. He's very antsy because I just basically got him up. He was sleeping after his morning. Now that's gonna be the view. You just get butt and balls. Come on. He's very sweet. He's very curious. Yeah. He's very loving. If you're not rat people, I apologize. But truth is rats are just pocket dogs. They're, like I said, they're just as smart as a dog. They're very affectionate. They bond to you. So here you go. Your little cameo. Yeah, I want to say this movie, if you haven't seen it, it's basically, I believe exists in the canon of the live action. You're really going to sit that way. You're really just going to, balls out. Come on. It exists in the canon of the live action movies, and it takes place, obviously, a decade down the road from the Ninja Turtles 3, and the Ninja Turtles have sort of splintered, no pun intended, splintered apart. Leonardo's sort of off finding himself. He sort of feels like he's not the leader that he was meant to be or should be, and he's having sort of a crisis of leadership. And yes, that's right. And obviously Raph is very bitter about that, as Raph is always bitter about everything. Raph is also has started what do you call it? I don't want to say patrolling the street. I don't know. But he has invented a sort of Batmanish vigilante alter ego called the Night Watcher. Okay, bud. Okay. It's very cute. It's very cute. It looks good on the camera. So Raph has sort of, started doing his own thing. Casey Jones and April O'Neil have gotten married, and, they've sort of pursued more of a straight life, and April is like an antiquities dealer, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it's one of those things where they changed it to kind of make this movie happen, and that is something that I sort of have issues with, because this movie, I feel like it feels very much like an episode of a TV show. I think the villain is one of the biggest problems. The villain and the tone, the wild tonal pendulum shifts, but the plot. I mean, first of all, the villain is Patrick Stewart, voiced by Patrick Stewart. Great voice cast. Sarah Michelle Gellar is April O'Neil, and Chris Evans is Casey Jones. Lawrence Fishburne is the narrator. I do want to say about Sarah Michelle Gellar, because for a long time, and I'm a big Buffy fan, but even like as a Buffy fan, I don't know. I was always kind of anti Sarah Michelle Gellar for a long time, and like predating Buffy. I don't remember, I guess, or in the midst of it, like Cruel Intentions and all those things. I was just not, like, I don't know, I was always sort of a knee-jerk Sarah Michelle Gellar hater. And then one day, I had a dream, and in the dream I was in high school, and somebody, like, behind me, like in the desk behind me, was smack-talking Sarah Michelle Gellar, and in the dream, I turned around and I said, "Hey, dude, Sarah Michelle Gellar is one of my best friends. She's an amazing person. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't talk about her like that in front of me anymore." And I woke up and I was like, "Oh, I think I'm a Sarah Michelle Gellar fan." Like, that was my brain being like, you're sort of like, you're always saying you don't like her, but yes, you do. You like her. So that was the moment my brain told me, like, it's okay, dude, just be a fan. So I always think about that, but or like if the subject comes up. But yeah, great voice cast, and now I can't remember what. Oh, the Patrick Stewart as the villain. The villain plot, is to assemble all these monsters that were unleashed around the world, and he has to bring them all together to restore his brothers and sister, but they were like evil warlords, and he over centuries and millennia has sort of realized the folly of his ways, but his counterparts, because they've been like frozen in stone all this time, they're still evil, and and ultimately, it doesn't amount to anything. It doesn't matter, like, where the characters, like, the characters do have arcs in this movie, and this is the thing about TMNT. It is so close to hitting the mark. It's like they had a lot of good ideas. I really like the Leonardo Raphael feud. I really like sort of where all the turtles go. I think they were all... What are you even doing? He's being very... He's hitting I think he's hitting his max for hanging out down here. Yes, my hair is a little wet from the shower, so I'm sure he's all excited. But I like a lot of what's going on, but when sort of the plot that is being pushed forward by the villain is sort of pointless and weird and uninteresting, and it leads to so many... The monsters themselves lead to a lot of unnecessarily goofy scenes that's a big problem I have. Like, this movie handles kind of like the darker emotional core really well, but then it's like, oh no, this is for kids. Well, we wrote this like heavy emotional scene that's really well done, really well executed, but kids might be bored with that. So let's do a goofy cartoon scene right after. You know what I mean? So it is just constantly ping-ponging you back and forth between the most dumb, brain-dead garbage you've ever seen, and then some like actually emotional, thought-provoking stuff. Some good action, like some of the action is really well done, surprisingly so. The confrontation with Leonardo and Raphael in the rain on the rooftop, that's a great scene. That might be one of the all-time great Ninja Turtle moments, like at least on a big or small screen. I can't speak for the comic books. I've only read the first handful of issues, but ultimately there's just so many things working against the movie. Like I said, the plot, or I should say the villain plot. I like the turtles, being broken up plot. I think that's really interesting. I don't like, aside from Splinter, I don't like any of the character design. I think that the turtles, I remember when that movie came out, there was a lot of like, well, the turtles look anorexic. They're too thin. Well, first of all, everybody's too thin. Like, all the women in this movie are weirdly sexualized, and I shouldn't even say, they're just weirdly thin. And all their faces are like tiny nose job, like tiny Michael Jackson nose jobs. Like they're all just visually unappealing. The turtles are visually unappealing. And the turtles' face, I hate the turtles' faces. I don't know. There's a lot of bad decisions made there. And same with the monsters. They're just uninspired. They're just generic. It's like, I don't know how Splinter came out so good. Like, somebody cared about Splinter. I do think, this movie shows, again, because it exists in the canon of the live action movies, you see Splinter has sort of artifacts from their past adventures, and you see Shredder's helmet, and you see the time, I forget what they call it, but the thing that makes them travel back in time in the third movie, the lantern or whatever. He's going to sleep. But I get, the first movie had, obviously it's like the Shredder, and then the second movie, somehow the Shredder is back, or somehow the Shredder returns. I think as maybe as uninteresting as, I think they were worried if they just brought the Shredder back again, if they resurrected him again, that would have been the criticism. But looking at what we got, and I do like Karai is the leader of the Foot Clan, and obviously in different versions of Ninja Turtles, she's been, she's Shredder's daughter, but she's really Splinter's daughter that was stolen by Shredder and raised as his daughter. And I think in other versions, I think in the Michael Bay movies, she's just there. I think she's just like Shredder's commander. I don't think there's it's not deeper than that. I like Karai a lot. I like her a lot in the Nickelodeon computer animated show. I think for all the criticisms I lay on TMNT's feet, or on TMNT's doorstep, the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles show really epitomizes how to fix all of the things that I was saying about TMNT. I think that show is a really genuinely, really well done show. Really balances the deeper emotional core with the fact that it's a kids show and that it needs to be fun, and it knows how to balance those things, and it has tragic characters, it has Their version of the Rat King is horrifying, voiced by Jeffrey Combs, who is amazing. I'll have to do. I'm not going to talk too much about that show because I would like to just do a video on that show. But point is I feel like it got right a lot of what TMNT got wrong, the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles show got right. There we go. But I do think this movie would have benefited from the Shredder. Like, I think the Shredder is, like, yeah, I get it. Like, they killed him in the second movie, in The Secret of the Ooze. So what? Bring him back. I think it would have been cool to bring him back and have him be some sort of resurrected version of the Super Shredder. You know, we got, at the end of Secret of the Ooze, we got, 30 seconds of this Super Shredder. Well, what if they brought him back and he's sort of kind of partially Super Shredder, partially regular Shredder, some sort of like mystical zombie situation probably playing out. Like, I think there would have been... I think he could have done that, and it would have been neat to see the fallout. It would have been neat to see the aftermath of those... the events of the end of The Secret of the Ooze. I think that's what the movie was missing. And at the end of TMNT, Karai says something like, there's an old enemy from the past is going to return. And it's obviously setting up that the Shredder's coming back. Why you didn't just bring the Shredder back? I feel like they probably thought, like, oh, we can't do it. It's too easy. It's always the Shredder. You doing okay? I'll bring you back up in a sec. I think that's one of the biggest misses. I think for everything this movie could have been, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up to my memory of how fun it was to go see. And 100% honesty, I have gone back and tried to watch the old cartoon, which I loved. I was obsessed with, like every kid, especially every boy at that time of a certain age. I worshipped that cartoon. I have gone back. I bought all the DVDs. It doesn't hold up. Sorry. I think it's a pretty terrible... It's a pretty mediocre show, watching it by today's standards. But again, I'm a grown-up, and I was a kid. It was meant for a kid, and I don't know. I don't know if a kid now would get into it, or it would be cheesy or whatever for a kid in 2025. I don't know, but yeah. So there's a little something to chew on with that movie. I do think it's sort of unfairly forgotten. I'm not going to say it's underrated, but I'm going to say there's some really good stuff in it. But I do think it has just sort of been swept away in all of the Ninja Turtles media. It just has gotten lost in the shuffle, and it is worth a mention. It is worth the occasional rewatch, if nothing else, for the Leonardo Raphael storyline, because I think that is sort of the heart of those characters, and it was neat to really see it done maybe justice more than it's been done in the movies. So there you go. Kind of a quicker video, because this little boy is getting antsy. So I will let you go. But thank you everybody so much for watching, and if you made it this far, I'm really surprised. I can't tell if he peed on me. Usually if we go too long, he's gonna pee. He's gonna piddle a little bit. It's what dudes do. Like, hey, I've been there. But thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, obviously. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. We're gonna hit the old stop record button any second now.